I recently read an article that the city of Fremont has the happiest people in the entire United States. And I'm a Bay Area native, so I know the area pretty well, especially Fremont. It's gonna be a little hard to convince me that Fremont is the happiest place in all of the United States, but I'm gonna test it out for myself. Well, here I am. Oh. Let's check it out.
マトカが参ります。ご注意ください。
Of course, the first thing I had to do was get a tea, and then I went to explore, eventually stumbling on a scenic park with a nice lake view. This was probably the biggest adventure that I was gonna get in Fremont, as there isn't a whole lot. But I hope that you'll continue to come on adventures with me and support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. I'm still getting used to filming in public too, so sorry about the noise and my cringiness, but I did eventually find a place to sit down and talk to you guys. So I ended up at Central Park in Fremont just to, find a place to film, find a place to take in what Fremont has to offer. But being at a park is actually a good segue to talk about the actual study for how Fremont is the happiest place in America. I wanted to talk a little bit about the research they did and how they actually consolidated all of their data into making the assumption that Fremont is the happiest place in the United States, because some of it I do agree with, but some of it I'm not necessarily sure. The main thing is that they only use data, like data analysis, in order to figure out which place is the happiest in America, and they don't actually ask the people, which I think is kind of misleading. But let's just talk quickly about how they actually rank these cities by happiness. I think I'm gonna move because the lighting is so harsh here and it's kind of noisy. Okay. Hopefully this spot is a little better. I feel like there's a little less wind and the lighting is a little better as well. So we'll hang on to this spot for a little bit. Now where was I? I was going to talk about methodology for the study. So the methodology for the study was broken down into 3 different things. It was rated across 3 different dimensions. Number 1 being emotional and physical well-being. Number 2 being income and employment. And number 3 being community and environment. Across these different dimensions, Fremont ranked pretty well. It was number 1 for emotional and physical well-being, and also number 1 for community and environment. It was also number 2 for the lowest depression rate, number 3 for high sports participation rate, and number 1 for lowest separation and divorce rate. Now this study was conducted by wallethub.com, so I feel like they already have a lot of data analysis from other things that they quantify, and a lot of the things that they measure they already have data about. So it's not necessarily any new data, it's basically just consolidating all the studies that they've done and putting it into one happiness index. But I also did find that these dimensions are kind of large, they're kind of open-ended, so it actually breaks down the dimensions as well. I'm not going to list them all because there are a lot that they list within each dimension, but just for you guys to get an idea, I'm going to mention just a few from each category. So for emotional and physical well-being, some of the subcategories that they quantify include adequate sleep rate, physical health, food insecurity rate, and percentage of people vaccinated, as well as mental health issues. Those are the ones that rank the highest in this category. For income and employment, they ranked employment rates, income growth rates, and weekly work hours. And for community and environment, some of the things they measured are separation and divorce rates, hate crime incidents, and average leisure time spent per day. Now just thinking about happiness in general, because I feel like happiness is very subjective depending on who you're talking to. Some people are very happy with certain things about life, and some people are very happy on the other end of the spectrum. Now I completely understand quantifying the lowest depression rate. I feel like that is one of the big factors, but something like the lowest separation and divorce rate is a little iffy to me. There are people who are very unhappy in marriage and get very happy because they get divorced, and I think that category kind of makes the assumption that everyone who gets a divorce is just like completely unhappy or something like that, and I feel like that's not necessarily the case. It's very situational, but then once again, they're not talking to people about this. This is all just data that they've collected. So some things that I think this study doesn't talk about and doesn't necessarily reflect include the cost of living, especially in the Bay Area. Fremont is no exception to that. Another example is that San Francisco has the highest income growth rate, but you can still easily see that there are a lot of people where their income may have grown, but they still can't afford to live in the city. So it makes me wonder how reflective that is of the actual community compared to just numbers that are kind of thrown around. I think another thing that they don't mention is like the new work from home meta or hybrid meta for working. I think that has changed a lot of data as well, and I'm not sure if the data really reflects this. And then finally, entertainment, because I'm relaxed in this park. I like being here. I don't feel super stressed or anything like that, but just driving around and knowing Fremont as well, I only come to Fremont for very specific things. Number one is badminton. Number two is like good Chinese food, good milk tea, but I even have that in Cupertino, closer to my area, so I don't really need to make the drive if I don't have to. And otherwise, I'm just coming up to see friends and hang out, but not to really do any entertainment activity. And that in itself makes me feel a little confused as to why Fremont is ranking so high in this study. You know, it's all data, of course, but I really wanted to get to the real reasons and to see if people are actually happy in Fremont. Because honestly, if I wasn't filming this video and I was just hanging out here right now, I'd be pretty bored, I think. And unfortunately, I don't have my badminton gear to go play badminton. I'm not really an avid rock climber. I do know there are a lot of rock climbing gyms around here, and I could potentially try, but not in this outfit that I'm wearing right now. I do 100% agree on the sports participation rate. I do think that's really high because a lot of people I do know play badminton out here. The best badminton gyms in the Bay Area are in Fremont for sure. And when they're not playing badminton, they're rock climbing, so. So now that we got the explanation out of the way, I had to figure out what to do with my day in Fremont. It was later in the day and I had dinner plans with a friend, but honestly, even if you Google what to do in Fremont, there's not much that comes up. I guess people are so happy that they just sleep all the time, because it's a snooze fest up in here. Even driving around, it seems like a mix of suburbia and warehouses. The warehouses I get because every badminton gym I've been to is a renovated warehouse, but this just is a reconfirmation that the quiet life is not the life for me. I needed some food in my system because at this point that was the only thing that would bring me happiness. A chill burger joint and some hand-rolled boba along with some deep talk about the future lifted my spirits. And now all we need is a testimonial about Fremont. See, this looks better, look. The lighting looks so good.
But the art.
No, we're not filming next to a truck.
Oh.
I'll take a picture of the truck later so people know what you're talking about. I'll be like, Elena wants to film next to that crusty ass truck right there.
It's art.
I don't think Elena needs any introductions because she's been in like 20 videos. I don't know.
Oh my god, you started already?
Yeah. But I needed someone who is familiar with Fremont more than I am, which is you.
Yeah.
Because Elena's lived in Fremont her entire life.
Yeah.
I read an article recently that said Fremont is the place with the happiest people. Oh, you know.
I know.
You know. Oh my, then that makes it so much easier. So I wanted your opinion on this.
They said it was the best city to live in. What did they say?
They
Best
say
or-
the happiest people in Fremont based on 3 different standards. One was like income, one was I wrote it down, hold up. Why am I trying to remember it off the top of my head? Okay, it was rated across 3 different dimensions, which were emotional and physical well-being, income and employment, and community and environment. And it was number 1 for emotional and physical well-being and community and environment. How do you feel about this? Are you emotionally and physically well?
No?
No? Okay. Well, first of
No.
all, we just need to be like, are you happy, like, living in Fremont?
No.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. You don't think that it is a happy place to live in. So why do you think they would say this? Like, do you feel like I don't even want to say your peers, because I feel like it's not really related to people of our generation, but do you feel like you see happiness within other people that live in Fremont?
No. I don't even know who wrote this article. Who wrote this article?
Okay, well, it's solely based on like analytics and statistics though.
No way.
So like they didn't go asking people in Fremont like, are you happy? Wait, which makes me feel like it's not a very solid argument, right?
I don't know, when I first saw that article or whatever it was, I was like, this is a lie. And like my mom read it and she was like, Elena, did you know that Fremont is like the best city to live in? And I was like, what?
Okay, you heard it here, folks. It's a lie. So my whole thing was like spending a day in Fremont to see if I got any happier.
Did you?
It's just so boring. I didn't know what to do. There's nothing to do here, right? So like, I don't understand how people can be happy if there's nothing to do. And I think, so one of the main things, at least on the site, it was saying that divorce and separation, which is supposedly an index of happiness.
I know a lot more parents that are divorced in Fremont than not, so...
Oh. All right. Well, I think we're good then.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I didn't have an outro, so this is it. Also, Fremont isn't bad, but I don't think it's the right place for me. God, I was bored. Bubble is good though.